Now, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts has summoned 63 institutions of the federal government for implementing illegal budgets, leading to expenditure of over 2 trillion naira without statutory approval. Chairman of the committee, Oluwole Oke, also wrote a letter to Director General, Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabueze, to demand evidence of appropriation by the National Assembly, as well as the expenditure made by the departments, agencies, institutes, corporations, and parastatals. Kayode, Otitoju, our Rise analyst, joins us now to chew on this for a while. Great to have you. I had to take a deep breath there because 2 trillion flying under the radar is not a small discussion at all. Government-owned enterprises always on the wrong side of the conversation. Kayode, Otitoju, take us through this. This is time for us to renew a conversation about privatization.
Not necessarily privatization, it could be commercialization. These agencies that operate outside the budgetary provision are real high revenue generating agencies. And the headship of such agencies are not even subjected to the screening of the National Assembly or by the Senate. Agencies like Post Authority, NIMASA, NAA, NEMA, these are real revenue generating and spending agencies. So when they generate the money through IGR and collection of tax, if it's Post Authority, collection of wharfage, wharfing, and all sorts of. And they consume all without getting it to the, government coffers. Then the body that's supposed to be carrying oversight function over them, has to call them to question. And that was what happened by Oluwole Oke, the head of appropriation, calling them to explain by writing letter. Because even Mr. President, at a time, I think less than a month ago.
During his budget speech.
Exactly. During the budget, yeah. That a lot of money, like these agencies, about 63 of them, spent over 2 trillion naira without any oversight function from the National Assembly. This is wrong. Sometimes when the chairman of Revenue Mobilization Fiscal Commission was talking, he said some of these agencies, their salary and their take-home pay or the package is more than that of Mr. President. And that's why they are trying to review, the take-home pay of even the legislative, the judiciary, and what have you. They do what they like. You just have to see MD of any of these parastatals or agencies. What they drive to office. Either Lexus Jeep or, no, it's true. Monstrous vehicles that even apart from Mr. President or Vice President, people that were elected to govern us, type of things they are not using, these ones are using. And that's why they fight to get to even ordinary director level, not even MD. Because the director of finance and admin in any of these parastatals is stinkingly rich. Stinkingly rich. And here are people who are supposed to provide oversight on their functions. They are not happy because they see the type of life the the people in charge of the management of resources at these parastatal agencies and some ministry, MDAs. We call them MDAs, ministry, department, and agencies. You know, how they live. More than even people in private sector that really work hard and, you know, take loan to do their businesses and, you know, but this one, they are managing government, they are managing public enterprises, and they are just spending anyhow. So, I don't know the type of sanctions, you know, they have been asked to submit, report on how they spent over 2 trillion naira, just 63 of them, and the question is, even when they submit it, what will be the penalty? Do you get my point? Because even some of these agencies, they dodge the legislator themselves because of what they ask them to bring before they can approve. So they look at soft areas of getting approval instead of going the normal way, because the condition placed by the senators and the rep, chairman of committees on those parastatals, the condition is so stringent that a level-headed head of parastatal may find it difficult to succumb, and if they don't succumb, they won't approve. So it's a messy situation that requires people like Showore to become president, to clear such, or Adebayo. Yeah.
Messy is putting it lightly, indeed. But what you mentioned, about when the president was giving his speech during the budget presentation, I think that's what triggered this investigation to begin.
Yeah.
I'm wondering first, if he didn't make that statement, would we still be in the dark? And is this also a prompt on our part for the way the budgets are approved to be reviewed? Because clearly, if all these agencies were able to bypass the process to the tune of 2 trillion, then it might be time for a review. What do you think?
No, the function of the legislators is already spelled out in the Constitution. Mm-hmm. It's not something you can just review because it's not well implemented. Once you get the right people that make sure that right things are done, the laws are okay. So no need for review. No need for review. It's still, as an agency or a parastatal and whatever, okay? You ask as the MD or DG or what have you, you ask the head of your departments, various departments, to collate their budget, what they need, okay? You get it ready, and the normal thing is to pass it, through the National Assembly. But what some of them do is, when they are even in a hurry, they approve they give it, what they call it now? There is one terminology they were using sometimes, anticipatory approval. They give anticipatory approval, that is, we are approving this spending, they are spending it in anticipation of appropriation. And once you've spent it, the person who is performing oversight to look, you just give tip and it looks the other way. So a lot is really being lost into this oversight function of it. Some of the legislative officers, we even see, like the chairman of capital market. You remember during Aruma Oche, chairman of the capital market asked Aruma Oche to bring 50-something million before he could, and the woman, I think Aruma Oche, flared up How do you want me to get it? Okay, and it became a national issue to the extent that the board of SEC too, had to, suspend Aruma Ote. People like us who had worked there before, I took it up. And I wrote to Mr. President that the board doesn't have power to suspend the DG unless they are discussing anything like contract and the DG has interest in that contract. That's the only time you can ask him or her to excuse you at the board meeting. So all those things happen. Both of them, I can't say, both of them, their hands are not clean. Both the operators and the superintendent, supervisors rather.
Mr. Otitoju, I like that you mentioned that you wrote a letter to Mr. President about this in your experience, yes, or instances of irregularities.
Luckily, Abati was working directly with Mr. President.
Mr. President, okay.
Immediately, let me linger
Go on,
a bit.
yeah.
Immediately Abati saw that letter, he made sure that it was, published in Guardian, because he left Guardian for that office. So when it came out in Guardian, he took a copy of that something to Mr. President and said, apart from all we are hearing, here is someone who had worked there as board member. This is the position. There is conspiracy by the members of SEC, the board, against the DG. And based on that, within 12 days, Mr. President restored Aruma Ote back to her place. So there are some headship of such agencies or parastatals, that are, straightforward, and they are no-nonsense people. They don't succumb easily to, the dictates of the National Assemblies or the chairman of committees.
So you're going straight into my point, because in January 2015, President Buhari had said, if we don't kill corruption, this corruption will kill us. Sure. And subsequently, 2019 is when he harmonized the government-owned enterprises, their budgets, and brought them into the overall budget to make sure that there would be transparency. So these things were now supposed to fall, whereas before they were separate entities, now that this, for example, what would have been this 2 trillion is supposed to be part of the overall national budget that gets approved through the same process, which requires that presidential sign-off. Now, as we are getting to the days where we've started discussing President Buhari's legacy and what his legacy will be, knowing that he's somebody who came in with a commitment to fight corruption, how does this bode on his legacy? Because this is a really big thing to be revealed at these late stages of, the end of somebody's tenure.
You see, one of the legacies is this single account, that Mr. President had already put in place. That is, no matter which agency, MPA, NEMASA, Shippers Council, or whatever you generate, take just minimum, a certain percentage for, administrative and management of the organization. The remaining amount must go to the central purse. But many of them, if they generate 100 naira, they will spend 98 naira and send.
So if they have the impunity to ignore a presidential directive, then where are we going?
That's the work of the. That's why the body that should give oversight function, perform oversight function on them, should do their job. to do their job. If Mr. President had not raised alarm, the House of Rep on budgetary oversight wouldn't have asked the 63 of them to bring their papers, and they want to, even when they bring their papers, the money is already spent. And what you don't even know is, now we are rounding up, we are almost getting to the end of the year. Money already approved and appropriated will still be taken from the treasury. But with this change of currency this thing now, I see how they will change it, how they will spend the money. Because they might have already withdrawn them in cash and put them in cabinets and all sorts of things to be shared. Let's see how they will get it to the bank, and the bank will accept them. Many things are corruption. Did you listen to Showore and Adebayo yesterday?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes.
These are the people that know the system and that can correct the system. Not people that will just continue with the status quo.
Very well said, Mr. Kayode Otitoju. We appreciate your time as always.